Shalom, Baruch Haba. Hello and welcome. I welcome you in the great and awesome name of Yahuwah Elohim. And it's been Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. Thank you so much for joining us here at Sari for our weekly Torah teaching on the coming of Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. To the Kodashim out there, I want to thank you so much for your comments, for your support. Trust that you all had a great time blowing the shofar. Here in this part of the Adut, Adonai Yahushua gathers his troops and begins to give some final instructions for the battle ahead. So let's jump right in and hear what's going on. Devarim chapter 31:5 will line up with Yochanan chapter 15 verse 12. So we begin the Adut here. Yahuwah will give them over to you, that you may do to them according to every mitzvah. This is my mitzvah, which I have commanded you, that you may love one another as I have loved you. As we begin the survey on this line, executing the commandments, or the mitzvah, is at its roots the best way to show love to anybody, especially to one another. We covered this in one of the prior videos. As we pick up from last week, Sichon and Og were two great warriors of the Amorite. Proud sayers, they were defeated by Bnei Yisrael, and their land was given to Yisrael. This was both spiritual and earthly. The victory was overwhelming, and Yisrael passed through their land and utterly defeated them by dwelling in their cities and teaching the mitzvah of Yahuwah, thus doing away with the spiritual understanding of the people of the land by teaching them every mitzvah of Yahuwah Elohim, further promoting his greatness that was spreading because of the magnitude of those victories over such a powerful enemy. They won every time. They believed in someone named Kamosh. So in like manner, as it reads, Yahuwah will give them over to you. Yahushua receives this, and he says, this is my mitzvah also, which I have commanded you. This mitzvah, H4687, is a code of wisdom pointed from Yahuwah. It is a supernatural commission. Teach the mitzvah that Yahuwah has written on the stones. This is what they did back then. In this way, you have love for one another. Love that is identified in the Abrit understanding. All those ones listed in the covenant. One another is pertaining to dominance of one nation over another nation, so as to promote one school of thought, Yahuwah Elohim. This is also why he says, as I have loved you. He has done nothing without promoting Yahuwah Elohim. And when he comes back from the heights of where Yahuwah is, also seen in the top line of this survey, a great victory will have been won over the ruler of this world in the invisible realm. He will then have the power over the ruler of this world. And what he has done is to be taught in the same spiritual understanding as it was in the days when Sichon and Og were defeated in the land of the Amorite, proud sayers. They were proudly saying things about what they believed. We are to do the same in one accord concerning the victory given by Yahuwah to his Ben Yahushua. Have love for one another, promoting Yah's mitzvah through Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. Survey on those lines. Devarim 31:6 will line up with the Yochanan 15. We'll be looking at 13 through 15. He says, to do this, be strong and of good courage. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. Here Yahushua is encouraging the Moa Dean, and this includes us, beloved, to take a stand for him, to be strong. This is seen as great love in the survey line, and it takes good courage to show that. This is seen as laying down one's life for his friends. Live your life in a way that honors both Yahuwah as well as Yahushua. It's a lifestyle change. This is great love. Do not fear, nor be afraid of them. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. Again, this is great love in the survey lines. Agape love. Love with conditions. Seen in this line as whatever I command you. You are my friends if you do that with no fear. Or as it reads, do not fear. He is commanding us to forget about the spiritual understanding the world has taught you and follow this edut, to execute the way the word has lined up. If you do whatever I command you, this is seen as not being afraid. Follow the words right on the screen, they're lining right up. Speak about him and do the things that he did, and don't be ashamed of it. Because Yahushua still has to reign 1,000 years. And he wants his friends to lay down their life, and don't be ashamed of what you believe. Be strong and of good courage and take a stand for this all-important thing he's gone and done. Because he now has to return for us here in this day and age. For Yahuwah your Elohim, he is the one who goes with you. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. He's doing the same thing he did with Sihon and Og. It's right here in the survey lines. He will not leave you nor forsake you. But I have called you friends, for all things that I heard from my Ab, I have made known to you. So there it is, friends. All things that I have heard from my Ab, I have made known to you. Now that you know this, then you're not forsaken. This statement is a mitzvah given at those times in history, lining up to bear witness of yet another coming, to establish the next part of the redemptive plan. We are to do likewise, to restore Yahushua to prominence here on this earth. This cannot be done without Yahuwah, as the influence of a demon is in the hearts of the proud sayers, even here for our time. We have to be strong and of good courage because of the demonic force that's driving them. It causes people to fear and be afraid because of their dominance. This is the ruler of this world that's doing this, mentioned in the last video. They look to the things of this world order to justify their righteousness. It's sensual, and these things can't save anyone, and we know this. So don't be afraid. Ream 31:7 will line up with the Yochanan 15:16. As we continue to get these all important instructions. Then Moshe called Yahushua. So Yahushua answers and said, you did not choose me, but I chose you. You and me, us, all who believe in Adonai Yahushua. He's gathering his army now to do battle. And said to him in the sight of all Yisrael, be strong and of good courage. And appointed you that you should go and bear fruit. So here he's giving us the power needed because of what was said to him back then in the sight of all Israel. We are those who believe Elohim will prevail according to what is written in his word. And the greatest general that ever lived is now commanding us with the strength and courage of the power given him as a leader drawn by Yahuwah. And he appoints you, us, all of us, to go and bear fruit. All of us. Pass on the knowledge. Take a more active role in witnessing. Share the videos. Don't sit on it. Don't be afraid. Yahushua will be known. Let your works testify to that. For you must go with this people to the land which Yahuwah has sworn to their ancestors to give them. And that your fruit should remain. So when you come back this time, that's it. As we survey this, for you must go with this people. The mark of the accusative is here on the people at Ha'am. They are the people who believe in Yahushua for everlasting life. The one called in the very top line of survey. That is who you is in this verse. This is his people that follow him to the land of promise, which Yahuwah has sworn to their ancestors to give them. So he says to confirm what Yahuwah has sworn, that your fruit should remain. Aleph Tah, this is the fruit, everlasting life of their ancestors. Those Aleph Tah people who believe in Adonai Yahushua. The mark is everlasting life. Fruit remains. And you shall cause them to inherit it. The mark of the accusative is on them. Everlasting life is on them. Otham. Those people that trust and believe in Adonai Yahushua. He's going to cause you to do that. That whatever you ask of in my name, he may give you. This is part of the inheritance. Ream declares you shall cause them to inherit it. The mark of the accusative is on them. And Ream, and this is seen as you down in Yochanan. That whatever you ask of in my name, he may give you. Yahushua is the one being spoken to by Moshe in the top line of this survey, and down in Yochanan, he is executing this according to the written word right here in the Yadut. So the things you ask for here should be related to bearing fruit, witnessing so that people might hear and be saved, living your life in a certain way. All of this is lifestyle, and that's a very effective witness. At least people know where you stand. Ream 31:8 will line up with the Yochanan. We'll be looking at 15 verses 17 through 19. And Yahuwah, he is the one who goes before you. These things I command you, that you love one another. And as I mentioned, keep the appointed times of Yahuwah. This is a strong witness right here. Yahuwah goes before us. This is why he established the Moa Dean. These are the times set by him for believers to assemble themselves. They lead us to him. It is his style of worship. He goes before us and witnesses those times for worship or for war. He's the one who goes before you. In other words, he's already there. And we're going according to his instructions to get where he is. Yahushua says, "These things I command you." The Moa Dean are part of the commands of the mitzvah. And this is love. Love for one another. That is to say, people of like mind gather together so as to become light for those wondering whether or not we're supposed to be still doing this stuff. He will be with you. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. So enough said, you're going to have some haters. If you don't, it's because no one knows who you are and what you stand for. So let's go and bear fruit. This is the battle. He will not forsake, he will not leave nor forsake you. If you were of the world would love its own. So he begins to explain something here. He says he will not leave you. The evidence of this is seen in what Yochanan records, if you were of the world. This is Yahushua recognizing us as not being left by saying if. So you're not left according to this written account. Nor forsaken. H8500 is azab. Means to leave, abandoned, neglect, to apostatize. Yahuwah is not going to do any of this to you. However, if you were of the world would love its own. Here's how that plays out. If you witness to someone about what you believe and hold dear, after you witness the great and awesome name of Yahuwah Elohim and show and prove this fact to them, and they in return show you no love by disrespecting the truth you hold dearly, even as you speak with them, you show them in the scripture where it says, for instance, God is a demon. That's in the scripture. They hear it and they know the truth, and then they choose falsehood anyway by continuing to speak that blasphemy right after they get the news and see it. So they hate you, just like the survey line above says. When they do this to you, it is called the world loving its own. And this is evidence that you are not left behind nor forsaken by Yahuwah. When this happens to you, because they disrespect the same book they say they love by denouncing the origin of it. So they're hypocrites. They love their own. Do not fear nor be dismayed. Yet, because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Do not fear. So as we begin this little discourse here, means to stand in awe and respect and honor of something, to hold the things of this world in awe. To have spiritual fear and to highly respect it. The Towrah says, don't do it. Don't do that. And this is why he says in Yochanan, because you are not of the world, not prone to spiritual lies. Therefore, do not worry about what they say about the spiritual respect of this world order and how holy it is. I wouldn't care if God said it. You follow Yahuwah Elohim. Do not fear. Do not respect a spiritual lie. Nor be dismayed. The word for dismayed, H2865, is chatat, and it means to be shattered or broken. It means abolished and to be scared. This shattered brokenness is seen when it reads, "But I chose you out of the world." You're broken apart from the world. He chose you to be that way. You're chosen. The message is, don't be scared of the part of this definition here, because evil associations don't want to be around you anymore. Don't let loneliness and isolation and being frowned upon because of what you know is right terrify you, so that you return to the world's way of doing spiritual things. Don't do that. So you'll know that you're on the right path because it reads, "Therefore the world hates you." So let the world know that they and their God is going to hell, and show no sympathy to their ignorance. Yeah. Another prime example of worldly influence here in today's religious world order can be seen in those signs on that "coexist" bumper sticker. You see it on people's cars trying to influence you. Pick one of those religious symbols on display, hang that up around your neck. So just tell them you don't worship those type of things: crosses, stars, moons, anything else in that box of Lucky Charms they got. Some of those Hindus walking around here worshiping that chimp, burning incense to it. And then they pass out food to feed the hungry, trying to cover it up by doing good deeds. Just like the rest of false religion. That's why the world doesn't see anything wrong with what they do, bowing down to a chimp. You give them some food, you can pretty much persuade them to do anything. They worship their belly. So let them hate. Don't eat that food either. Don't let them pray over your food. They're giving thanks to something that you don't even believe in. Religion has become political anymore. And the whole agenda is worldly. Ream chapter 31:9 will line up with the Ochanan. Chapter 15, we'll be looking at verses 20 and 21. So Moshe wrote this Torah. Remember the word that I said to you. This is the Torah. We are to remember it. Moshe wrote Hazot HaTorah. H8451, the Torah is a law of direction and instruction, a body of prophetic teaching, legal directives for the age of Mashiach, special codes of law, customs, and manners. The verb means to direct, teach, and instruct. Over in Yochanan, Yahushua says, remember the word that I said to you. Here's why. The mark of the accusative is on this Torah, Hazot et HaTorah. They are the words of life, and he is the one drawn and speaking in the verse to fulfill it. The Aleph and the Tau, the Greek word used for word here is logos, G3056. It is a continuous speaking discourse. How fitting is that definition applied here? A discourse. Also, moral precepts given by Elohim, sayings of Elohim, decrees mandates, and orders. The words remember is talking about remembering the Torah. That's what this remembrance is. Towrah. Delivered it to the Kohanim. A servant is not greater than his master. A Kohen is a principal officer. The verb means to act as a Kohen and minister in that office, to become one. It is from a root meaning to mediate in spiritual services, to which Yahushua says a servant is not greater than his master. Yahushua is not greater than Yahuwah. We all have to get in line here. Even though he is the Kohen Haggadah in the Shemayim, these things that I'm revealing here are for the good of every believer in him. I am sent to line up the scripture in such a way as to remind you of the word. He said to those at that time of his first coming, as well as you hear now, for his second coming. And the word that I said to you, they are everything we have covered that are written in this part of the Torah. If you've been following along, you have all the pieces to the puzzle of understanding Scripture. So don't take it lightly. Hold on to it. Most do not care. The Banim of Lewi, if they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. So here's some persecution going on. This is being joined together now. The meaning of Lewi. We are joined to him through persecution. It is being built upon. This is the verb definition of the word banim, means to build, persecution upon persecution. They are joined together. If you join yourself to Yahushua to call upon his name and pray to Yahuwah only, to follow his Torah, then expect to be persecuted. Persecuted. G1377 means to be pursued in a way, whatever, to harass, to trouble and molest someone, to be mistreated, suffer persecution on account of something, to pursue in a hostile manner. It's because you're following the Torah here. This word also is used metaphorically to pursue and seek after eagerly, to earnestly endeavor to acquire something. Many have joined themselves to Yahushua in the form of using false witnesses to describe him. They merely pursued him to acquire his rights as a true heir to everlasting life. This way they too become the Banim of Lewi. So we have to remember this in dealing with certain believers who are out here, for instance, calling on Yeshua. They are joined to Yahushua too, and we have to remember something here in the Torah, because this is what these people are after. Okay, this type of persecution. That's why he said, if they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. In other words, they're going to enforce their influence upon you. It's persecution. Remember that. Who bore the aroma of the Berit of Yahuwah. If they kept my word, they will keep yours also. Okay, so let's look at this here. There's some things we got to remember. Who bore here? H5375 Nasa means to lift up, exalt, support, aid, and assist. These are people who have joined themselves to him. Could be Aramaics, Greeks, Christian, it doesn't matter. It means to lift oneself up and exalt oneself, to cause one to bear iniquity. The iniquity is found in what they bore. The aron, the ark, as most know it, that contains the berit of Yahuwah. The mark of the accusative is on the aron, and the things that the Lewayim, or those who have joined themselves to the covenant of Yahuwah, are lifting up, whether it be his covenant or the new one that these Christians have, who have joined themselves to Yahushua using some other name. You know, the verb of Aharon is ara, and it's used in the sense of gathering. Okay, so this particular covenant is used to gather believers for salvation, something that we have to remember here. Those who join themselves to Yahushua in any way bear it. You know, they know about it. They aid and assist according to the definition for bore. Yahushua knows all this, and because the mark of the accusative is on the aron, these are his words. That's the importance here. The mark of the accusative are his words. The aleph and the ta, these words, those letters that make up that word there. That is why he says, if they keep my word, and they did not, they didn't do that, choosing the alpha and the omega instead, he says to us who do recognize it, they will keep yours also. They will keep yours also. So that, so all that we do is because of Adonai Yahushua. We have to keep the understanding in the Abrit to describe him using the letters found in the Abrit lettering system. Okay? The ones found from the aleph to the ta. This is the word we exhort, and we exhort you to keep up with it and the understanding of what is found in the Adut as it bear witness to his coming. All of this is kept in and around the aron. This is what everyone is after. You know, they're after that. This is how they're going to deceive you. So we have to remember. And all the elders of Yisrael. But all of these things they will do to you for my name's sake, because they do not know him who sent me. So they're after the covenant. Here it is again. Here are the elders, Zaken. These are people having authority in Yisrael, so they should know better. But instead he says to them, but all these things they will do to you. They're going to do them. These are your persecutors, the older folks who should know better in their reasoning. You know, you would think they would pick right up on the scheme. But because of slavery, they just go with the lie. So he says concerning the older folks, because they do not know him who sent me. So everybody they're raising up is in trouble. Ream 31:10. And Moshe commanded them, saying, if I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin. The mark of the accusative is on them, Otham. What Moshe commands here is preservation for Chaim Olam. Commanded them. Okay? Everlasting life, it was for them. Likewise, Yahushua is drawn here. As Moshe, his name means drawn, Yahushua is here, and he declares what Moshe is saying concerning the Berit. And he says, if I had not come and spoken to them, this is all of Yisrael. Anybody using that part or any part of the covenant to claim the prize of everlasting life. He spoke of life everlasting to all the people. It's now seen here in the verses of Yochanan, talking to those closest to him, warning us about them. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin. So not many people in the world witnessed this, and as it was then, so it is now for the adult. Not many are tuned in to see or hear what is written and kept in the Aron, the Ark of the Covenant of Yahuwah, although it has gone out to all the world. At the end of every 7 years, at the appointed time in the year of release. But now they have no excuse for their sin. This word for release here, H8059, is Shemitah. Shemitah means release. It means letting drop of exactions. Exactions here. To release from debt. Exactly what you owe. We're going to release it. The verb means to let it drop. Loose it, let it go. This is an appointed time of letting things go. To drop of exactions. So you have to be exact. This is at the end of every 7 years. Sheba is used here, H6751. The verb means to swear or take an oath. So this is covenant action. We're talking about the Berit. To swear of Yahuwah by himself. To cause to take an oath. 7. Sheba. At the end of every 7 years, at the appointed time in the year of release, we are to let the exactions drop. So you have to be exact. You know, don't have to be exact to pay back exactly what you owe to the creditor. You will be released from debt. Who will set up an appointed time to have all debts canceled. A way to let every debt go to be released. Drop it. This debt includes sin. We have to pay for that too. It's called forgiveness. You know. Over in Yochanan, Yahushua says, but now they have no excuse for their sin. So he's not going to let things go. He didn't come to speak truth to them for nothing. This flows from the top survey line. He came and set the record straight. This account was written and recorded in the Abrit. But they knowingly have twisted it to the point where Yahushua's name is not even mentioned, in the covenant. And the disappointing thing is many people don't even care that it's been twisted so bad. And so they continue with another version of what was actually done by him. Thinking perhaps, together, if the whole world come together, they could convince Yahuwah that, just maybe he did. He did send a son named Jesus or Yeshua or whoever they call him on. These are people who do not have the common decency to release him from his prison of obscurity. So for them to not have the facts straight about this account and bear witness to it because they don't care is no excuse for him to release, drop, or otherwise let go of anything so that they can receive forgiveness into everlasting life. That's beautiful. Now, they're going to have to be exact, exact at the end, as it reads that the word for end here is H7093. It means the end of time. It means to cut off. So he's not going to let it go. Best to get it right. Better be exact. At Chag Sukkot, he who hates me hates my Ab also. So Sukkot is the gathering under the tent. That's it. That's the big dance. And doesn't sound like he's going to let a lot of things go. So people might not going to have some shelter here. At Chag, this festival is for everyone, the native born and the foreigners, who expects to dwell in the tent of Yahuwah. Foreigners happen to be the ones who are found in the story of Yochanan. They were foreigners. And they hated him because of the truth he spoke. So he says, he who hates me hates my Ab also. So they don't expect to dwell in the tent forever with Yahuwah. They're not going to do that because of hate. And a lot of them not going to do it anyway. They don't have an exact testimony. And furthermore, they missed the time appointed to give that witness. And this is evident because Christianity doesn't keep up with none, not one, of the appointed times of Yahuwah at all. Pride has convinced them that they can show up anytime they want. Chag Sukkot was appointed by Yahuwah. And it appears that they hate it. They hate Yahushua too. He who hates me hates my Ab also. Ream 31:11 will line up with Yochanan 15. We'll be looking at 24 and 25. When all Yisrael comes to appear before Yahuwah your Elohim in the place which he chooses. If I had not done among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have seen and also hated both me and my Ab. When all Yisrael comes, this is seen over in Yochanan when Yahushua says, if I had not done among them. This is all of Yisrael during the time of this occurrence. So 3 times in the year, everyone was to assemble at the appointed times of Yahuwah. And for this event, the appointed time was Pesach. This is an intimate setting, and a select few are tuned in. For the adult, these are the days of blowing the shofar in anticipation of Yom Kippur and Sukkot, which is coming in the following weeks. The verse reads, when all Yisrael comes, then it says, to appear. Aleph Tah, right there. Appear before Yahuwah. The mark of the accusative is on the word before. H6440 is panim. It means face. He appeared. So it reads, to appear Aleph Tah et panei. It is his face. Yahushua has appeared in the story before Yahuwah, saying, if I had not done among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. He appears before Yahuwah Elohim. These words are being spoken right before the Pesach, the time where Yahuwah said he would pass through the land to slay the Mitzri, the double straits in the land at that time. They were Greek and Aramaic influence. They were to remember and keep that enactment in the land, in the place which he chooses. It was the time of slaughtering the lamb. And these words he is speaking in this intimate setting is right before that appointed time. He's already appeared to them and done the works which no one else did. And they did not believe and tried to kill him in the account. So this is sin. So they have seen him and hated him, both he and Ab, and this is more sin. You shall read this Torah before all Yisrael in their hearing. But this happened that the word might be fulfilled, which was written in their Torah, in their law. They hated me without a cause. The mark of the accusative is on this Torah, Hazot HaTorah, this prophetic teaching before all Yisrael in their hearing. H8451, the third definition is used here, customs and manners. The verb means to point out and show. So what I'm going to point out and show is hatred, seen here in the survey lines about what happened that the word might be fulfilled, which is written in their law, their Torah. It's found in this footnote. And here's the footnote. It's a reference. Okay, it's Tehillah. They had the Psalms up there, 69:4. Okay, I just corrected it, Tehillah. That's hatred right there, using that word Psalms. You know, the footnote, as I mentioned, is a point of reference to where this passage came from. It is not found in the Torah. That is to say, the 5 books of Moshe. It's not found. It is found in their law, their Torah, the Psalms, world religion, all of them, even the Jews. They do not understand the Torah of Moshe and the prophetic nature of the words when they line up and how powerful it really is in overseeing all of world history. If the Jews knew that, they would have picked up on Yahushua a long time ago. But the fact that they did not and have not to this day is evidence of that. And their offspring, Christianity, is likewise in the dark because of the Psalm. This is their Torah. Church people are not in the habit of reading the Torah of Moshe. They just don't teach it. They say it's done away with. Every wind of doctrine they have regarding prophecy flows out of the Psalms. This is their law or Torah. They go to the Psalms because they hate what Yahuwah has done in the Torah because they can't figure it out. That's no cause to hate it. You know, you were not chosen because of hatred. You dislike his will for salvation. The mark of the accusative is on this Torah in the top line, the one in Ream, that is to be read before all Yisrael in their hearing, and not the one that happened that the word might be fulfilled which was written in their Torah. Because it reads that they hated me without a cause. And there's even more hatred in the quote. I'm just going to read it real quick. You don't have to turn there. Go and look at it later. It's all about salvation, but they plucked this little word out here. Tehillah 69:4 reads, "Those who hate me without a cause are more than the hairs of my head. They are mighty who destroy me, being my enemies wrongfully. Though I have stolen nothing, I still must restore it." So this is just hatred. All of them together, without proof, have come to the conclusion that although nothing was proven stolen, and the person knows he did not do it, he still has to restore it. You know, that's just hatred. That's what that is. That's in their Torah. That's where they find that. That's how they do it. Yeah, that's how they do it. Trickery and deception of the word. Hatred. Well, beloved, it's been well over 2,000 years, and Yahuwah is finally revealing his adut, and judgment is at the doors. Yom Kippur is next Shabbat, so to all of Yisrael, I encourage you to prepare yourself according to the word of Yahuwah, that the love you show towards him be received with great joy by him, and that your reward may be made perfect through Adonai Yahushua. Shabbat Shalom. Lehitraot. See you later.